Daikin Europe, Daikin UK. I want to thank you for the walk around your headquarters up in Birmingham. It's quite clear that you invested so much time and money in nailing your showroom. Your air source heat pump lineup is super impressive. It's quite clear that you want to be at the top and position yourself in the better products. Your VRV5 looks awesome. I hope we get to install it soon. If you are an engineer and you want to see the VRV5, get yourself up to Daikin Birmingham training, because they've got it on show and they've got it operational. I hope you like this video. Daikin, I look forward to the next. So there's a few products in here I've not actually seen before. So
it's been a little while since I've been in this training centre. But yeah, you've got your R32.
I've not seen that. Not VRV5 anyway.
VRV5, yeah.
Three-phased up to 25 kilowatt, 20 kilowatt?
Will it be 8 horsepower?
8 horsepower.
Yeah, 25. And this is Dean, by the way.
Oh, nice to meet you, Dean. You all right? Yeah, really good, thank you, mate. Really good. Really good.
So particularly for training centres,
yeah, for sure.
There's a mixture of heating products, VRV, DX.
Yeah.
So give you a chance just to see what we've got here.
Clive's whizzed us in there, and I've seen you've got some VRV5 in there, which is quite new. Yeah. I've not seen it. VRV5's on the market now. It's for sale.
It is, yeah. It's going in. It's been around probably a year now, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been going in for about a year. Yeah.
So there's still a lot of 410 going in. R32 is limited range.
Yep.
But it's,
so you've got R32 VRV5 and then R410A. Is it VRV5 or is it VRV4? So it's the 4 plus. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Can we kind of look?
Yeah.
Yeah, wicked.
Technically a water-cooled VRV, so I don't know if you...
So we've done water-cooled. Just to confirm, for my probably knowledge, this needs to be connected to boreholes. Is that correct?
No, any sort of centralised loop, chilled loop, heat loop, whatever, as long as it falls within the specs of like the the water temperatures and flow rates, it can be used in any centralised system. Shopping centres are a good example. How
do you reject on the evaporator or the condenser? How do you reject?
To the loop, to the
So you'd have a common water loop with dryer coolers on the roof.
Yeah, so you have dry coolers. Some people have chillers. We can sell them up as packages, so you can have chillers on the roof, heat pump chillers on the roof. You can have these in all the buildings, whether they're gyms, shop spaces, office spaces.
Good application would be like a hotel.
Hotels, yeah.
Small volume of refrigerant. You put this in the end of the corridor, do a VRV installation with your DX, and then you just do one water loop up to the roof.
With a small chiller?
Yeah. So therefore it reduces the amount of refrigerant which is going into the hotel rooms.
I see.
It's also used as a full heat recovery system as well.
Yeah.
Is this a different product to what I know a lot of apartments are having now in London, where you have a common loop?
This is Geo, so this is our new...
Okay, so it's a different product?
Yeah, different product. Geo.
Okay, because I was told it's the size of a small washing machine.
Similar in design though, similar in how it works with the centralised water circuits and what have you.
Right, okay.
So this is purely an air-conditioned VRV product,
whereas
with the new Geo we're talking about linking it to heating products.
Correct, that's it.
Yeah.
I see,
and
okay.
tanks.
So, question on this then, you said about the hotel application. Is this, could I put the water heater on the end of this?
Yeah, so you can put any...
You have the HXD or...
Wow, so you could actually get high... Is it high temp?
High temp.
Yeah.
You get high temp hot water via the hydro box and AC?
Yeah, so you're connecting this technically to your BSB boxes.
Yeah.
Same as you would any VRV installation.
It's treated exactly the same?
Exactly the same.
And the main thing is then, as you say, your water loop is taking your heat rejection or heat gain. So as long as you maintain, say, 20 to 30 degrees on that water loop, you could do heat recovery between various floors of the building.
That's really interesting.
What goes to
That's
the roof
really interesting.
would be very small heat rejection, heat load.
So really looking at it, if you had a hotel, you could have these on each floor, and then you could literally have a dryer cooler on the roof, just rejecting the temp. Or to apply heat,
heat pump.
You just put heat pump.
A lot of newer buildings, apartment blocks, they'll have apartments for residential, they'll have shops and a gym type facility. You could end up with heat pump chillers on the roof, a whole centralised system.
Interesting.
You've got these doing the gym, you've got and recovering the heat, putting it into the cylinders in the residential areas. It's a whole sort of system.
It's
really,
quite a small unit. It's quite a small unit.
Yeah, no, they are. Yeah,
literally goes in the cupboard.
And it goes to, surely at 18 horsepower it grows?
You can actually link them together like a plus system.
Multi-module.
Oh wow! Oh really?
So
okay,
you
interesting.
have flexibility, same as any VRV.
So it's just a standard heat exchanger on the condenser?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting product.
Okay. I mean, obviously some of the...
Does that, is that R32?
No.
So it's 410?
Technically it's
410.
But like we say, the advantage is, you know, your refrigerant circuits could be small.
So you'd avoid leak detection anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're only going to go from that to branch off to your BSV.
Is this? I'm not sure it's your remit, but is it a popular product? As in, is there a big demand for it?
Like I say, in shop where space is a problem, where you haven't got outside space, basement space, roof space, etc. Yeah.
Sometimes it's landlord circuits.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like shopping centres.
I think I've seen this system once, and it was in a big office block, new build, and it was landlord.
Yeah.
And they had put one of these in, so they've been given a flow and return.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shopping centres all over the place as well.
Okay.
Air purifiers.
I've got one of these in my baby's room. This thing is awesome.
They're really good, aren't they?
It's
really
it's quite sad. You set it up and you watch the indicators drop as the smell disappears.
Yeah,
it's a good product.
Various
Yeah,
products. I mean,
this is sick. Yeah, this is cool. This is
bar
cool.
Rob, because obviously you can run through the various heating systems which we have here.
Rob, with the HT, I know a small amount about that.
What do you want to know?
What sort of water temperatures can you get out of it?
80 degrees,
80.
75. I'll get it right.
Yeah, I think something like
R32, R290 yet?
R32, R290 is on its way. The thing is, though, I think you need to look at that unit as more as a deluxe unit.
Okay.
It's incredibly quiet. I think it is the quietest air source heat pump, high temperature air source heat pump on the market.
Right. Okay.
The technology in it is absolutely fantastic, to be honest with you. It tries to, because defrost is a big problem with heat pumps, isn't it?
Yep.
We all talk about this, how much time is in defrost. That unit actually tries not to go into a defrost, so it actually starts to put in hot gas into the heat exchanger to prevent it going.
Oh wow!
To prevent it from freezing
right.
up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a.
So I take it it's got some kind of capacity control device from discharge, so
Yeah.
it just sends it straight to the coil.
Yes. Yeah.
And the thing is with heat pumps, and I'm sure you're going to confirm it, is unfortunately the bigger the better sometimes with the coils, right?
Yes. Yeah. More space.
The more-
less chance of it freezing up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she tries to stay out of.
Yeah. Tries to stay out of defrost.
Gotcha.
When we're looking at higher flow temperatures, I mean, it's a big debate at the moment on Facebook. You see it all the time.
Yeah.
People keep pushing for higher flow temperatures. It's not the be all and end all. We really should be looking at actually being able to heat our properties with lower water flow temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really important.
But I think in that time before we get to that stage, high temp is still needed,
From a retrofit point of view.
and a retrofit point of view.
And using weather compensation and making sure weather compensation is being used correctly. But I mean, what was it? Come 2025, you shouldn't be actually installing a heating system with a flow temperature greater than 60 degrees anyway, 55.
Is that what it is in 2025?
I think so, yeah.
Because if you have got an older system, the chances of windows being correct, the insulation being up to standard, and pipes being lagged is unlikely, isn't it? If you're ripping out a boiler, because we've had it with commercial sites where they want to spend less on gas, but unfortunately they have to go high temp, and although it's not as efficient as they'd like, there is no other solution without spending hundreds of thousands of pounds of insulation and changing pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the advantage with this high temp is a single compressor, single stage, whereas our previous high temp was a cascade system. So
Interesting.
not so efficient, whereas obviously you can turn this down temperature-wise, and then therefore you would gain more efficiency.
Was this Cascade the R134A?
Yeah, that's right.
I remember coming across them as units.
Beautiful bit of kit that was.
Yeah.
It genuinely was, and it still is today.
Still loads out there.
Well, your larger water-to-water HT modules, I think, are based on the same principles.
Same product.
Same principles.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think they were only discontinued very recently anyway. They were
And,
very recently.
And that was only to do with the water pump in there.
Yeah.
And they sort of said, well, do we actually want to bring the water pump up to legislation, or
Okay.
we just drop the product range?
I'd say it was probably the longest standing Altherma product that hadn't changed pretty much
Day one.
from day one.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember it still had the old sort of Daikin type controller on it as well?
It did, and I hope I'm not wrong in saying this, but I think, was it Pitlinger or Space Air? They're no longer around now, are they? But they used to rebadge their own products with their own codes, but I know they used to shift a lot.
Space.
You used to get ERQ codes, and ER, you'd have to ring them up for tech. Yeah, Space. But that was like 15 years ago. So the product's been out for some time.
Been out for a long time.
Been out for some time.
Yeah.
What's R1 without, I'm not that knowledgeable, maybe you know. What's R134A GWP? Ooh. Is it paint? Is it a bad? Is it high? Is it high?
It's quite high, yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I'll have to check, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because that's what we're moving towards, R290, 600B, is it?
R290. I know a lot of people are moving to R290, but I'm also hearing people are going to CO2.
Yeah.
Efficiency-wise, never good.
You've got other refrigerants out there as well, like
So running pressure is too high.
Well, I've kind of heard for the grapevine that the new gas of the future, especially with air-to-air, is R454C.
Yeah.
And it's a Daikin. I think Daikin of the Mastermind did it.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Daikin Mastermind product.
There's a couple of others which behave very similarly to R134A with the temperature range at certain pressures. So
Oh, is there really?
R1234ZE and a few
I've seen a
others, yeah.
CO2 Altherma system running in Ostend, but they could never get the efficiency above 1.9 on it.
Oh
CO2.
wow! Oh, I see.
This was
Okay.
about 15
So
years ago
so
as well,
great
mind
for
you.
GWP, but
Yeah.
bad for efficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the same in
It's always the
like
trade-off.
supermarkets though, isn't it? So you've got all these CO2 plants in supermarkets because they're always trying to bring the
Yep.
GWP down. But my argument have always been is like, well, if the efficiency is that much lower on it, how much more money is it actually costing you in electric to run it? How much then CO2 is being released by that electric?
Yeah, everything's got a knock-on effect, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have it as contractors where we deal with newer gases. With chillers is R1234ZE.
Yeah.
But the challenge that we have, and it's a product that you do and a few others, the challenge that we have with it is it needs managing.
Yeah.
The gas costs more, you need more gas charge. So I don't know what R290 is like versus 32, but do you need more gas or less gas?
Less.
Less.
Oh, you do need less gas?
Yeah,
Okay.
less, yeah. So from a manufacturing point of view, it's also great because
R290?
yeah, it's less refrigerant in the system.
Okay.
But it's also good for shipping, because
yeah.
we get problems with certain quantities of refrigerant being shipped. But I think
And
the
the
latest thing-
allowance, right?
well, I
you
think
know,
the latest thing is R290. We've got a bit of a problem with shipping, haven't we?
I don't know the legislation.
I suppose R290 and heat pumps sat next to Tesla batteries in certain circumstances is like, yeah, insurance nightmare.
Yeah.
Well, we love electric cars. I mean, there's not much chance of an electric car catching fire anyway.
And I,
We can go into that debate if you want.
We'll have that conversation offline.
Maybe we should just carry on round.
Yeah, let's go. Let's
to be
go.
fair, R290 is in contained systems and has been for years. You know, fridges,
I think the Chinese-
portable
I
air
think the Chinese-
conditioners.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, there's loads of it out there. You know, but yeah,
You need
only
special-
in sort of sealed circuits, really.
Correct.
You don't.
A lot of
often
mobile
put it
AC
out.
units have. And then Legionella cycles, all done with this magic cylinder.
It depends on the cylinder. So it'd be either 60 degrees or 70 degrees C disinfection. We can decrease that if needs be on the 70 degree one. We're allowed to do 60 now, I believe, as long as you hold it there for 40 minutes from memory.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a big advocate of low temperature systems. I mean, we can talk a little bit later if you wish about that, a bit more about insulating houses and stuff like that, because you don't necessarily need that insulation. At the end of the day, it's just kilowatt in, kilowatt out.
Yeah.
The problem being is what size heat pump you would need to be able to sort of hit a larger demanding property. That
Okay.
becomes more difficult.
Okay.
But yeah, you've got the low temperature monoblock. This is probably one of the most popular units we actually sell. We also do an option with the monoblocks. This is pre-plumb cylinder.
Okay.
What's quite nice about this is it's great for retrofitting, especially when you've got small bore piping on the system, because the buffer tank at the bottom is also effectively being used as a low loss header.
Oh, interesting.
So we've got a system pump here. The system pump is actually being ran off the buffer tank temperature.
Okay.
So it waits for the buffer to hit 37 degrees C by default. It can be altered, but
Yeah.
it's 37 degrees by default, and then it allows the system pump to run and circulate around the central heating system.
I see.
Two really good things for this, because when we talk about heat pumps, we're also talking about minimum water volume in the system and minimum flow rates.
Yeah.
Gets rid of the minimum flow rate issue because it's just the heat pump circling around the buffer, and we get rid of the minimum water
Interesting.
volume because it's
already
all
there.
in there.
Interesting.
And it means we maintain it at 37.
Okay.
So a lot of people talk about backup heaters as well, especially if you're online. You'll see people really sort of hitting home about backup heaters.
Yep.
The small monoblock is the only unit that we sell without a backup heater by default.
Okay.
So there's no backup heater. If there isn't one on the wall, which there isn't one in this installation.
So the backup heater,
It's always been an option on the smaller monoblocks.
the backup heater is a backup heater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly that.
Yeah. Well,
So if you had no backup heater, just straight immersion, right?
no. So the backup heater is only generally for space heating. So the immersion heater we would normally call the booster heater,
Yeah.
and that's just the booster cylinder, or if there was an issue with the heat pump.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with the backup heater. If there was an issue with the heat pump, it can use the backup heater.
Yeah.
But it's mainly there for defrost and minimum water temperature and stuff like that.
I see.
Minimum water temperature.
Yeah.
So we don't talk too much about this in these days, but depending on the glider refrigerant, generally the higher the flow temperature refrigerant can handle, it's going to be the higher minimum water temperature it needs before you can get full output from the heat pump. You've got that glide, haven't you? You've also got that glide.
Yep.
So the backup heater will generally be used within the lower water temperature, whereas with this, in combination with that buffer,
it
means we can get it up to 37 degrees C before it starts heating essentially heating up.
Right, okay. Yeah. So that's almost a must to have with your heat pump. Because
No.
Minimum water volume.
Well, minimum water volume,
yeah. I've got that heat pump myself in my own home.
Yeah.
But I've got an open central heating system, all radiators, no TRVs basically, and it's free to run around the house. I've just got one.
Sorry, say that again?
It's free to run around the house.
Ooh, okay.
Using weather compensation.
Ooh, damn, okay. That's the dark side of heat pumps.
No.
Well, it was. Now it's coming the norm, right? So eliminating buffer and just having a primary.
Yeah, but just using the whole system
no
as the
TRVs.
buffer. No TRVs.
Wow, okay. That seems to be where the higher scops are coming from these days.
Yes and no.
Okay.
That might be another conversation.
Okay.
Do you want to carry on, right?
Yeah, let's carry on. Word on the street. Big word on the street. I think you may be the first, or Mitzi Electric, or you might be at the same time. You're bringing out a multi-split air-to-air system with a set of pipes to a water heater.
Yeah, so
It's approved in Ireland, but not in the UK yet because it needs a Eurovent stamp, apparently.
needs to comply to invented regulations within the UK, so effectively like duty-free building regs, yeah.
Okay.
That's what we're waiting for. It's been a product in Europe for quite some time now.
Are you familiar with it?
I am fairly familiar with it, yeah.
Is it something which could change things massively in the UK?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I'd
But
have one.
It's
Likewise, I'd have one as well.
property size is going to be the problem. So at the moment it's the 4 met, so maximum of 3 fan cores on the unit with 1 indoor hot water tank.
What about the biggest outdoor unit?
That's it. So that's what it is at the moment.
What's the biggest outdoor?
9 kilowatt.
There's
Yeah,
9,
this is
yeah.
what- this
So
is
it's a
what-
4MX90.
Yeah.
Is that 5MX90?
5MX90.
3 fan cores. So it's
Is-
4.
I see, okay.
But
It's a good entry product though, because I suppose, I know others do it, you know your heat pump VRF, like your VRV5,
Yeah.
can you turn that into a multi-split, with a multi-split box, with an LED box? I know some brands do it.
well, we've done it on the other VRVs. I don't know about the
Not
VRV5.
about no, because it's probably a...
What I mean, okay, well the answer, or the question probably would be, if I had a VRV5 at home, and I wanted a Daikin Immerse 3 in my house, could I do that? Because normally you'd put like an LED box in.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
no,
so you change the field settings so it runs on different logic for communications.
Oh, I see.
On VRV5, I don't think you can. I don't think they
The reason I
offer.
say it is because when some of the other brands, and I think yourself you might be able to do that, you get past the 9 kilowatt. Because I think most heat pump VRVs, I think that VRV5 is probably 20 kilowatt, 25 kilowatt.
Well, it goes all the way up to 28 as a single module, yeah.
So
Well,
when you
even-
talk about that
even 40
with them
kilowatts.
heaters, it's like game changer.
Well, the big thing at the moment is the tank size. So the maximum tank size is 120 litres off the top of my head, but that's changing. So I've been told that will go up. And I think once we start hitting the 200, 300 litre cylinders on it, that's going to be...
Do you know what could even be, which I think someone's going to do, maybe you guys will do it. You heard of the SunAmp product?
Yes.
Charging it with refrigerant.
The phase change temperature is too high at the moment. So unless the technology improves to get the phase change lower, I don't think it's a goer at the moment.
Oh, really?
The efficiency is just too low. It needs to be... If you look at how the phase change
You could
material
probably get it
works-
with water, couldn't you? If you could put 70 degrees through it, but then...
Yes, but be careful again, it's still the efficiency. So when you look at the phase change, you start at maybe, say 20 degrees C phase change temperature. Yeah, it's quite a low load and the flow temperature needs to be sort of up towards 45 before it starts really absorbing energy.
Oh, I see.
So you're already at a very high flow temperature.
I see.
So if you
Okay.
compare it to like a domestic hot water cylinder, it's going to be more energy efficient. But if you need to save space and you've got no choice, especially if you've got PV, it's a no-brainer to have a SunAmp, yeah.
Okay.
So
So that Daikin product is something which may hit the UK?
Got phase change.
No, the multi-split.
Multi-split,
with
no, I've been told it definitely will hit them.
apartments, even like the likes of, I know it sounds nuts, but like caravans and mobile homes.
Yes, brilliant. Yeah,
No-brainer.
Yeah, no-brainer.
Rip out gas.
Yeah.
Or even air conditioning is the cheapest form of heating. It's just instantaneous if your house is well insulated.
Oh,
So you know,
you know-
it's an all
I'm
singing
standing
all,
with this guy.
it's all singing all dancing,
Do you know
isn't it? You know?
One type of energy transfer, just fridge to fridge.
That's it.
Do you know we're bringing out the domestic hot water tank heat pump?
No, built in. Is that built in?
Yeah, just a standalone hot water cylinder with a heat pump on it.
Okay.
The good thing about it is you obviously take the room temperature, so you're taking 20 degrees evaporating temp,
Yeah,
so super energy efficient.
yeah.
But you can even configure the ductwork, the extract goes into the house, so during the summer months you can actually start passively cooling your house from your domestic hot water heater.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's a nifty product.
Is it going to be a Daikin product?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Daikin. Okay. Cool. That's all I need to know. Because them products have been out for a while. We had a client rip out a Chinese water cylinder with a heat pump in recently. I think it was about 9-10 years old, and that was on R1348.
Yeah.
So Daikin, I take it, are bringing out an efficient
290.
R290 as well.
I think it's 290.
290? I'd have to double check. No, I think it's R32 actually. I'd have to double check.
So that's independent, an independent cylinder.
Yeah, it's a standalone product.
If you want to see it, I think within the next couple of months, pop down to Woking office.
Okay.
Training centre.
Is this hot water and heating?
Just hot water.
Just hot water, purely a standalone.
So it does what you want, is have an air conditioning for residential heating, and then a standalone domestic hot water cylinder.
Damn. Size? Kilowatts? I know it's
I
slightly
can't
different.
remember off the top of my head, I'd have
sure.
to double check, yeah.
Okay.
It's a new product coming out.
There are so many different products on the market at the moment.
I think it's something only
It's
like
so-
3 kilowatts.
There are
something
so
like
many
that.
different
It's not a
products
lot,
coming
it's about
out,
3
and it's
kilowatts.
kind of like which is the. There's no all fit, one size fits all. If we go to America, we were talking about refrigerants earlier. In different states of America, they use different refrigerants. So Honeywell have their own refrigerant, Daikin have their own refrigerant, Mitsubishi, Fujitsu, they all use different refrigerants.
Yeah, but I think in America, up until sort of 5 years ago, they were still using R22, mind you.
Again, it's different states. So some states now are having to they're used to the furnace model with the the dustbin type of unit. Now, literally, the laws changed this year, and they all have to be retrained because they're putting in multi-splits now. And Daikin I think they're quite prevalent in America. Massively prevalent.
Massive factory in Texas. Absolutely huge.
Massively.
Big investment.
Yeah. But multi-splits and splits, that's new to them. And I think it's all off. It's R32s out there now as well.
Yeah, I think it is. Because we're actually running a training course for some Canadian people for the air source heat pump in February. They're actually coming over from Daikin, Canada
To here?
to here to be trained on the product.
Oh wow, let's hope that you sell the same products over there.
Yes, we are. That's what it's just about to start doing. They're just about to start releasing
Wow.
the air source heat pumps over there.
So where are the heat pumps made? Are they made Czech Republic? Are they...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Czech.
Europe. We'll say Europe, so it
Europe, yeah.
depends. So like the HHT, most of that's built in Ostend factory.
Belgium, yeah.
If you're talking like a small monoblock, I think part of that's built in Czech and Ostend.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, because if you think about it, the small monoblock effectively is it's an air conditioning split unit with a hydraulic module effectively attached to it.
That's it.
Yeah. Octopus as well. So Octopus have a very unique setup as well. They completely internally support themselves. And they've just got a direct link to us. So it's any problem from Octopus is escalated through Octopus and then comes through to us as an escalation point.
So correct me from Octopus have a deal with you where all their heat pumps are Daikins, is that right?
At the moment, yeah, they are. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But they've got their own one coming out soon, haven't they?
Have they?
Yeah, they've got the Cozy 6, I think. Which
Octopus have got their own products?
coming out, yeah.
Oh wow, okay. Is it a Daikin product?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
It's they bought an Irish company, manufacturer. Yeah, so it's an R290 6 kilowatt little monoblock unit.
Damn. I wonder what rebadge product is that? I could probably guess, but I'm not going to say. Beginning with
Well, it's not
ending
rebadged
with
anymore.
A.
It's their company. They bought them, so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is their own product.
Do you? I don't know if it's within your remit with Daikin, but do you guys come across EcoVadis, ESG yet? So we're starting to come across it with government sites where this ESG score is like getting massive in America, and it's like equality and sustainability, and I'm not sure what the G stands
Yeah, they're like the
for.
BREEAM sort of system.
Similar,
to an extent,
but you have to show beyond your normal purchasing of where your emissions are. Daikin, I'm not sure about the other brands, but we've been asked, are the products made in the UK? Come across it yet or not?
Yes.
You've come across it?
Yeah, we have come across it. There are numbers in the background. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what they were, but there are numbers there.
Yeah. It's something which I think is going to start getting more popular because people want to trace the emissions.
Yeah. It's not too bad for us though in the UK because you've got to consider that most of the products, like heat pump wise, is manufactured in Czech, Ostend. It's very, very close. There's very little emissions to actually transport in that direction.
Right.
And we've also got the air handling company, as you mentioned a minute ago. So we have got equipment being manufactured in the UK.
So is your AHUs UK?
Yes.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So you probably bought a British firm. Because surprisingly, there's a lot of AHU firms in the UK manufacturing.
Yes. Yeah. It's
We deal with 3, and they're all British owned,
Yeah.
and it's all made in the UK.
I have kept asking, will we have UK manufacturing? And maybe in the future we will, but the thing is how much the equipment will then cost. Because UK manufacturing is still costing more than European manufacturing.
Yeah, I know.
Way more. Plus,
Yeah.
you're still going to have to import your material. So,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good answer. Good answer. Cool.
Do you want to have a quick look at some of the other products?
Yeah,
So
let's
I know
go.
we're a bit short on time.
Yeah, go for it.
You guys wrap up fast.
I don't know what the time is. That's
What
9
is the
o'clock,
time?
mate. 9 o'clock.
Oh, we got time then. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a 4 kilowatt.
hybrid system.
Ooh.
So effectively this is a small monoblock,
Ooh.
but it has to be tied in with a boiler.
Sorry, why Scotland?
Low ambient conditions. So when they start looking at efficiency, they're very reluctant to start taking up the heat pump technology.
Okay.
Because of the
We sort of
drop-offs.
say this, I shouldn't say, it's like an entry drug, if you like,
I know what you mean.
to heat pumps, yeah? So we can basically introduce this to customers. People start to get to realise actually heat pumps do work. Once they realise the heat pump works, because they've got the boilers back up effectively, hopefully the next time they change a heating system, it'll be a complete heat pump system.
So that's a gas boiler with, is it 50-50? Or
No,
is
no,
what
no,
you
no,
set
no.
it to?
It's exactly what you said it to. It's 2 options. One's ecological, which basically will run environmentally friendly as possible. And the second option is in environmental, which is basically the most cost-effective way of running a
Okay.
heating system.
Economical and ecological.
That's the one, sorry,
Yeah.
You're probably looking though, really, you want to look at maybe an equilibrium point of somewhere between 3 and 5 degrees. So the heat pump will heat your property down to sort of 3 degrees ambient minimum generally.
Right.
And effectively the heat pump, the boiler will then kick in to heat the property.
I see.
No
I've-
need for defrost then, which is...
Because you're not going below 0.
No.
Yeah.
So will that heat pump alone get to 40, 50 degrees? Because you set it so it got to 50 and then the boiler took it up to 70.
It can.
If you wanted to go to high temp.
It can. The likelihood is you'll never run it above 45. because
That'll
at
get
which
to
point
45,
it'll go
yeah.
to- It'd be a changeover for the boiler being more energy efficient anyway.
sure,
Or
for sure.
cheaper to run.
Yeah,
so.
okay.
The nice thing about this, or sorry, the bad thing about this at the moment, there's no government grant funding for it, which has been a problem. I did hear a little rumour that there's some talk about it being 50%.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. It's just something I've seen online, so it could be complete rubbish.
Are you the only, or are there quite a few? Are there quite a few hybrid monoblock systems out there, other than
I'm not
Daikin?
familiar with any. I'll be
I've
honest.
not seen another one.
I mean, our original hybrid, I think at the time, was the only one I'd ever come across. And obviously, I don't think anybody. I've not heard of any
So for
others
any-
doing it.
No. You can leave the existing gas boiler.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this product. That you can actually just retrofit it onto a gas boiler system straight
Oh,
away.
With this
okay.
one, the first hybrid was like a fridge split with our
Yeah.
own integrated boiler as well.
So you can
boiler,
actually
but
keep the existing gas boiler.
with that one, yes.
So where are the controls in that?
Yes.
Yeah.
It works more energy efficient with our boiler.
Of course.
And this is really odd as well because the controls then wire into our boiler and talks to the outdoor unit. But if you had a third party boiler, the controls then go into the outdoor unit. Yeah, and then it basically just gives on demand to the boiler.
That's like a monoblock.
Yeah.
So all you're
water
in
rate
essence
exchange in there.
doing is telling the unit produce a water temp,
Yeah.
or operate, or
I'm telling the boiler, so if it was a non-Daikin boiler,
Yeah.
it just tells the boiler to operate.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a Daikin boiler, they actually will communicate and is completely controllable, weather condensation, etc.
I didn't know that. So you can actually strap onto an existing gas boiler.
Yes.
Yeah, with that one.
Nice.
So we were talking about this earlier about hard to heat properties as well, like over 9 kilowatt was ideal. It's that entry product into a heat pump, especially with
Okay.
hard to heat properties.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's, I think no matter what, there's going to be a market for something like that for quite some years to come, especially with like these hard to heat properties.
One, obviously, the biggest challenge you've got with that, and I would challenge it, is well, you either do one or the other. If you have gas,
Yeah.
But the thing is, you don't
Yeah.
have to change your radiator, so at this point,
You can
there's
still.
certain
at this
conditions that
point,
can still heat the
don't.
house.
I suppose
up to
devil's
the flow
advocate is
temperature.
you've got two things to fail.
Don't forget, the main aim is to reduce CO2 emissions, which if this is running,
You are reducing CO2.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
if you've got PV solar in the summer and you only want...
Yeah. So for light commercial or commercial where you've got a small gas boiler, where you've got a domestic boiler in a commercial property, a quick way of reducing your CO2 emissions is with this setup.
Yeah, as long as the capacity was low enough.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is more for...
I mean a small office this side with a T-point or something, you know?
Yeah.
If you've got run around rads with no AC,
That sort of thing would be ideal for like, up to a 3-bed house.
That's a 4 kilowatt. So is that a larger version of the hybrid? This system to the left?
No. So that's the small monoblock again, what we've seen in the other room.
Okay.
And yeah, this is the original hybrid system with a split. But you've probably seen
I know this
most of
unit
them.
quite a bit.
Hybrid 7 kilowatts, so the original one, slightly bigger hybrid.
Up to 8, I think.
So this product's been superseded with the newer casing, hasn't it? I would have thought, or is it still
That
old
one?
school?
No, it's
Yeah.
still that one. So
Really?
you can still buy the original.
That's still the
hybrid
original
system.
hybrid, yeah, like a fridge split with a combi
They're
on top.
less popular. Because I was always, the only time that we've done quite a few of these, not as recent, is because you get the pipe runs, because you wouldn't get the pipe runs on the old monoblocks. Is that now not the case? Have the pipe runs got longer on the monoblocks, or
We've allowed for longer pipe runs on monoblocks now.
Okay.
So 20 metres we will allow up
What
to.
did it
Just got to
used-
up your
what did-
insulation.
Oh, did it used to be 10?
Needs to be 10, yeah.
So what's the biggest the hybrid goes to?
30.
Sorry, not the hybrid, the split type.
Yeah, 30 metres.
30 metres size, kilowatts of units? Kilowatt, up to a 14, up to a 10?
8.
Up to an 8?
Yeah.
But funny enough,
Only
this
single
is-
fan machines.
Huh?
Only single
And a
fan
single
units.
fan?
Yeah.
But the interesting thing was with this product, when you actually ran software simulations of which one was actually more energy efficient or cheaper to run, if you like, it was always the smaller unit. Size 5 was always cheaper to run than the size 8 unit.
Interesting.
Pretty much. There was a
Okay.
few little oddities, but generally, because I
What's
actually-
your-
I bought the size 8, and I realised actually been cheaper to run the size 5.
Yeah, okay.
Is that generally because you've got the same size
It's-
coil, but you're less capacity?
Well, no, there's an old, everyone's got their own view on this.
Yeah.
And the view is, I was told many years ago by an old engineer, he said, your manufacturers have got you over a barrel. They tell you an inverter compressor is more efficient running at a low speed, but they're wrong. An inverter compressor is more efficient at about 3/4 speed to,
Yeah.
at higher speeds.
Yeah.
So when you just said that comment about the 50 seems to be more efficient than the 80, you kind of think, well, was the 50 working its nuts off or working its pants off a bit more than the 8, which was running at a slower speed?
It's the slower speed where you gain the efficiency. So the size 5 run at a slower speed, you're gaining more efficiency over the size 8.
Wouldn't the compressor run at high speed because it's undersized?
No, but we're talking about higher ambient conditions.
Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
so
okay.
higher ambient, less
Okay.
capacity. So where you want the less capacity,
Yeah.
because as you just rightly said, the size 5 is more energy efficient. It's a smaller compressor in there, mind you, as well. So you've got that range being much lower, if you
Yeah.
like, compared to the size 8 being a bit higher.
Mhm.
And the thing is, this is where you gain on these heat pumps, is actually the lower range of the capacity of the heat pump.
I see.
Interesting conversation is backup heaters. We talked about outside out, but the other reason for a backup heater is to give you some capacity when you've got a bit of a shortfall.
Mhm.
So quite often you'll find it's more energy efficient to tightly size the heat pump at the lower end,
Yeah.
and maybe the heat pump
And
won't get a heat
the
out.
backup heater is just an inline heater, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But to actually utilise the backup heater for the very cold conditions,
I get
mean,
it.
It might be 10 hours a year, 20 hours a year.
I'm
it
with
runs
you.
for,
I'm with you.
But it could be more energy efficient to run that electrical heater for 20 hours a year,
Yeah.
and have the heat pump be able
I
to
get
go
it.
down to a much lower load.
A smaller heat pump.
Yeah.
But where does that, what you've just described with the backup heater, where does that tech come from Daikin to the end user or to the contractor? Is that done in-house by design, or is that usually done by a consultant? Because that bit
Yeah,
is it done for a
yeah,
selection tool?
software selection.
Does the selection tool give you that kind of knowledge, or is it more generic?
It does give you a lot of insight into
We
what
can
the
show you.
usage is going to
We
be.
can
Yeah.
show you it later on if you want.
Okay.
So I've got
Okay.
quite a few examples.
Because them kinds of sort of comments and bits of information, I don't want to say not a lot of people know, but it's quite valuable information because I suppose reducing CO2 is one, but the whole thing with a heat pump is efficiency is usually everything.
Yeah.
It's usually the goal.
The selection reports will give you the efficiencies of certain conditions.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think people are now very focused on efficiency because they see energy prices going up, and it's
So we don't do a lot. We don't do a lot of residential heat pumps, and but I've got a few friends that have got heat pump businesses, and they've had instances. I'm sure you guys have heard and things that they've installed this for customers, heat pumps. The electricity price has gone up. The customer actually tries discounting the bill because their electricity bill has gone up significantly, and they say, well, wait a minute, you're getting a 1 to 3 SCOP, but electricity has gone up by
yeah.
twofold. So you're actually gaining because you're not paying your gas.
Yeah.
That's what they don't take into account. The fact that gas prices also went up, and if they then recalculate their gas prices, what it would have been.
Yeah, to what it would be.
And they've
now.
usually got a Tesla outside as well. And they're going, also, you've just bought a Tesla that's on electric,
Yeah.
and you have no PV.
And they've put an induction hob in instead
There
of a
you
gas
go.
cooker.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it's all on the heat pump.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's obviously still a stigma. The heat pump enemy. Your enemy is your enemy gas? I suppose it depends who you speak to, but you're
Our
fighting
enemy
this.
is the energy prices.
Our
And the
goal
grants.
is to be environmentally friendly.
So reduce
That's
CO2.
So reducing CO2. That's what we're trying to achieve from this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some would sort of say, well, why have you got a hybrid system in your portfolio if you're trying to do that? Well, like I said, it's always going to be those hard heat places. We're trying to actually just be able to get people to be able to start that journey.
Step at a time.
And provide them an option.
Yeah, of course.
You know, don't want anybody to be exempt from being able to get involved with it in the first
I think
instance.
the new build, they will always go to low temperature.
Yeah.
That's the option.
Yeah, I don't think
I was told recently that the regs this year are changing again for new builds. I was with somebody yesterday, and they said this build is now 2023 regs. The insulation is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you don't need to run at high temp.
I don't think that they're allowed to design at anything above a flow of 55 now anyway.
Oh, okay.
60, isn't it?
Is it 60?
Well, a lot of
I
new
thought it was
builds have to have
55,
renewables, so they have to have heat pumps, they have to have solar.
Right. Because I know all the grants previously, you wouldn't get a sign off on your grants unless your design would
Above
demonstrate
55.
that it was below 55 or below. Which is why, in the first instance with the HHT, you struggled to get the grant on the original HT unit because obviously it would achieve a higher flow temperature, and they're like, well, hang on a minute, what's your design? So there was a bit of a time when you could have got a HT, but you had to supply design information that could demonstrate that you could still heat your property with a flow of 55 or below.
I see. Going back to the HT, so your biggest one you do is a 14?
It's 18.
18, yeah.
The biggest you do is an 18?
Yeah.
It's not true heat pump.
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, you're below zero, you have your drop-offs, right?
Right, so hang on. So
And
my
with the
biggest
back of it.
bugbearer within the industry is people will basically say a size 16 kilowatt heat pump, yeah?
I know.
It's 16 kilowatt at 7 degree ambient and a water flow temperature of 35.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you need to take into account actually what is the capacity of that heat pump. Now, size 18 changed a little bit. What they quite inconveniently didn't tell you is that included a 6 kilowatt backup heater.
Backup heater, yeah.
So if you actually remove the 6 kilowatt backup heater and you run the machine at -3 and 60 degree flow temperature, you've only actually got about 12.5 kilowatt
Yeah.
coming from that unit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if I needed, because I've got a friend that's got two of your heat pumps, them HTs bolted together. If you wanted to get your sort of 30 kilowatts out of a residential property and they didn't want to go ground source or to commercial type of systems, are they cascaded or are they, or do you run them in parallel?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can cascade them.
So you'd have would you common buffer and then?
It again depends on design. You can do it that way, or you can split it out as you can split it so upstairs one system, downstairs two systems. Again, it comes down to design. You could cascade it. There can be controls implemented for them to work as a system together, or you just install a couple of them.
Okay.
It does depend on design, as Dan just said, because if upstairs only needs 7 kilowatt and downstairs needs 12 kilowatt, you can easily split it.
Okay, per
If
floor.
it was 30 kilowatt, then
But you need a cylinder, wouldn't you? You need a cylinder per floor, then, wouldn't you?
So you
just
can
one
do it that
larger-
way, or you can do it with thermal stores.
Just that's what I mean. Buffer.
Or-
Buffer. Sorry.
No, not even that. An actual thermal store with a coil in it that is just for passing through it. So you just maintain temperature in that vessel, and there's a coil in there which isn't direct, and then obviously that can just work for your hot water.
Right. Okay. So that's it. That's the walk around done. Credible air source heat pump lineup. The VRV5 by Daikin. Perfect. Smashes 2 types of leak detection. 1, the leak detector's built in, and 2, the ventilation built into their branch selector boxes. I really hope you get some value from this video. If you want to walk around the facility, get in touch with Daikin. They were brilliant. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.